So, WrestleMania week is officially done and dusted. My thoughts? Well, I thought it was pretty weak. I thought this year's Raw and SmackDown AfterManias were pretty weak. Sure, there were some returns, like I said, like Alexa Bliss, like saw the debut of Lars Sullivan. We saw a couple of returns. And more importantly, superstars from other brands are just showing up on Raw and SmackDown without any consequences. I didn't really enjoy Raw AfterMania, and I really didn't enjoy SmackDown AfterMania much because I just thought the shows were weak. I just didn't think they were good enough to really get us excited. Especially next week is the Superstar Shakeup, which, by the way, I'm hoping a lot of good changes happen in the Superstar Shakeup this year. So we started off with the New Day. New Day, they started their celebration. The Bar crashed that celebration, and they introduced that they made a friend on Monday Night Raw, and that friend was none other than the Scottish psychopath Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre is apparently allowed on the enemy brand without any consequences. But you know what? I was okay with this. Now, I wasn't okay. Now, I'm not saying I was okay with Drew McIntyre appearing at the Bar. No. I was more saying I actually think Drew McIntyre would be perfect for SmackDown Live. I think if they are going to go, I think they should have Drew McIntyre on SmackDown Live. Because I feel like he like seeing him on SmackDown Live really brought me back to the days where I saw the younger Drew McIntyre. The Drew McIntyre that we all know and love. The chosen one. Out of time, dun 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 dun, so say goodbye. That, to me, that brought back memories of seeing seeing Drew McIntyre on SmackDown. And I think, and like I said, I think Drew McIntyre moving to SmackDown Live would be awesome. I think it would be an excellent move. Because I said it on my Twitter. I'm going to load up my Twitter real quick here. You're not going to be able to see it, but I can read. Sorry, it's going a bit slow, So I said here, and I quote, I think moving Drew McIntyre to SmackDown Live is an excellent idea. I'd much rather see him be WWE Champion than the Universal Champion. And that's true. That is what I stated on Twitter. And to be honest, I firmly stick by my statement. I firmly stick by what I said here. I think Drew McIntyre would look much better with the WWE Championship around his waist or on his shoulder than the Universal Championship. So that's what I think. I think Drew McIntyre being on SmackDown would be great. So then he could become WWE Champion. And I think that would be a nice way to recover him from what happened at WrestleMania. So it was announced that we're going to be getting a 6-man tag between the New Day, the Bar, and Drew McIntyre. Speaking of 6-man tags, we had Prince Ali, Fabulous He, Ali Obabwa. I'm sorry, I had to make that joke. Mustafa Ali. Mustafa Ali and Ricochet and Aleister Black, they teamed up to take on sorry, I'm losing track here. To take on Andrade Cien, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Rusev in a 6-man tag. And honestly, this was a pretty boring match. I didn't really enjoy this one that much. Ali got the victory with the 450 splash, pinning Andrade. R-Truth was in the ring with Carmella, the Women's Battle Royal winner. And Samoa Joe attacked R-Truth. God, I can't use my words today. Attacked R-Truth. And he said that he will do the same thing to anyone else, to any superstar who dares to oppose him. And out came the monster among men, Braun Strowman. And to be honest, Braun Strowman is another one. I think moving him to SmackDown Live is another excellent idea. I think putting Braun and Drew McIntyre on SmackDown Live is excellent. I'm not saying this is the superstar shake-up, but I'm saying for next week. Seeing Braun be a part of SmackDown, I think would be excellent. I think it would be a good move. Now, I know I've heard stories about the Intercontinental and United States Championships changing. I have heard stories about the possible mid-card belts changing. But I don't know if that's going to be true yet. We'll have to wait and see. If Samoa Joe ends up on Monday Night Raw next Tuesday, then it's true. But if not, then it's not true. We'll just have to wait and see. But I think Braun versus Joe, to me, that sounds like a very intriguing match. And that is something I wouldn't mind seeing. Also, Braun Strowman and Samoa Joe, like I said, I think that would be a great match. And we could crown, and Braun Strowman could finally win a championship, maybe. We had the Iconics appear with the women's tag team titles around their waists. Love the belts. The belts look absolutely iconic around their waist. Love their side plates. They took on some jobbers, and I refuse to believe that they are. And I refuse to believe that they are undefeated with 45 wins. I truly don't believe that whatsoever. They first the Brooklyn Bells. Ding ding ding. Bells. So, you know, I love the Iconics, but I felt like this was a piss poor way to kick off their title reign. To me, this tells me that they're not going to be champions for long. It's clear. It's clearly telling me that they're not going to have them champions for very long. They're just giving them a nice little small reign. That's all I see this as. I know for a fact they're not going to be champions for long. To all the people that are whining and complaining about these two being tag team champions, I know for a fact they're not going to be champions for long. Especially when we just saw what happened after the match was over. Paige was backstage on SmackDown, and she announced that she's going to bring a tag team next week for Billy and Peyton. So, I've heard people say Sky Pirates. I've heard people say Absolution. And one of my friends thinks it's going to be the Boss and Hug connection because they will probably get drafted to SmackDown. Honestly, I don't know. But if I were you guys, I wouldn't get your hopes up. For all the people that think, oh, it's going to be the Sky Pirates, Kairi Sane and Io Shirai. If I were you people, I wouldn't get your hopes up. What makes you people believe that WWE could bring up the Sky Pirates? But believe me, Kairi Sane's ready for the main roster. Believe me, I know. But we got Monday Night Raw. What happened? We don't know what if the Sky Pirates show up on Raw next week? So your idea goes out the window already. They could still challenge them. The women's tag team titles go to both brands. But the champions are the only ones allowed to go back and forth. Whatever. But either way, I don't see the Iconics being champions for very long. So to all the people that are crying about them being champions, I don't see them lasting until next week. If they get past next week, then I'll be even more surprised. So the Iconics defeat these Brooklyn Bells. Congratulations, girls. Shane McMahon addressed the WWE Universe. You know, for some reason, this whole thing with Shane McMahon bullying Greg Hamilton, to me I find it pretty hilarious that he just wants to have Greg Hamilton say Shane McMahon to say the best in the world. Greg Hamilton is great. I really like him as commentator. Ring announcer. See, this is why you don't need women doing the ring announcing. This is why I don't like women doing ring announcing. Outside of Lillian Garcia, not really many women are really capable of having the voice to introduce people. I'm sorry, I just wasn't a fan of JoJo. I actually really like Mike Rom and Greg Hamilton as the ring announcers. I feel like their voices are more powerful than a woman's voice. Like I said, outside of Lillian Garcia, that's about it. We had the Hardy Boys take on the Usos for the SmackDown Tag Team titles. Hey, fans, you wanted Usos versus Hardyz? You got it. It doesn't matter if you got it at WrestleMania, you still got it. You all wanted Usos versus Hardyz? You got it. Doesn't matter if you got it, doesn't matter if it didn't happen at WrestleMania, you still got it. You still got it. So don't whine. The Hardy Boys got the win. They win the tag team titles. This pretty much confirms to me that the Usos are going to Raw. This pretty much confirms it, that they'll be heading over to the Red brand. And that's just how I see. That's just the thing I see. I definitely see that being a possibility. But it is what it is. The Usos got the Usos. Yeah, the Usos, I believe they're going to be heading off to Monday Night Raw. And the Hardy Boys win the SmackDown Tag Team titles. And then Lars Sullivan appeared and pretty much destroyed the Hardys. Now, Lars Sullivan, he's just like everybody else, every other NXT call-up, free agents, not assigned to a brand yet. So it'll be very interesting to see what brand Lars Sullivan ends up going to, and I believe it's going to be Monday Night Raw, definitely. Because like I said, I think Braun Strowman coming over to SmackDown is an excellent idea. So you want to have two different monsters on two different brands. Then we had the man, Becky Lynch. She did the exact same thing as she did on Raw yesterday, but the only thing that was different is that she had the Raw Women's Championship around her waist, and she was holding up the SmackDown Women's Championship. Because on Raw, she had the SmackDown Women's Championship around her waist, and she was holding up the Raw Women's Championship. And this is why I don't like someone holding two titles, because it gets very confusing. And that's why I believe Becky Lynch is probably going to lose one of the titles, not both of them, if she was to lose a title match. And that's how I think it should be done. Becky pretty much said the exact same thing as yesterday. And same thing happened as yesterday. But the only difference being is that Lacey Evans delivered a woman's right to Becky and actually knocked her down this time. It actually knocked her down this time. And that's what happened there. And then finally, the main event, the New Day took on the Bar and Drew McIntyre. This was a waste of a main event. I really didn't like this. I didn't even see much of Drew McIntyre, to be honest with you. Why have Drew McIntyre come over to SmackDown if he wasn't going to do much? I didn't really see much of him. So, the New Day got the victory here. Trouble in Paradise by Kofi Kingston onto Sheamus for the 1-2-3. And that's basically everything on SmackDown. Not much to talk about. Pretty boring, lackluster. The Raw and SmackDown Aftermanias were pretty weak and disappointing. Hopefully, WWE do pick things up. Do pick up the pace heading down the road. So anyway, thank you all so much for joining me for this review. Hope you guys did enjoy it. Hit that thumbs up if you guys did enjoy. Comment your opinions down below as well. Subscribe if you have not done so as well. I would greatly appreciate that. And I'll see you all next week for the Superstar Shake-Up.